Hello, class, and welcome to our sixth lecture series on international finance. And I'm your instructor, Dr. Jamal. Okay, so we were discussing the chapter 4, which is exchange rate determination, and we finished our example or our last class on exchange rate determination. So let's have a recap what we have studied in our last class. We talked about the appreciation and depreciation of currency. So what do we mean by appreciation and depreciation? The formula is simple: percentage change, which means new value minus old value divided by old value, right? So if I ask where this 0.43% appreciation is coming from, so this is the new value, this is the old value. The new minus old divided by old, answer is 0.43%. That the currency is appreciated by 0.43%, right? And then we talk about the equilibrium stuff. What are the factors that causes the currency to appreciate and depreciate? But before that one, what is the demand of currency and what is the supply of currency? Simple. Demand means when price increase, quantity of currency decrease. So when price decrease, quantity increase. That is the law of demand. Supply of currency means when price increases, quantity supply increases. And what is equilibrium? Where they intersect each other. So we also talk about the liquid spot market. Liquid means when there are many buyers and many sellers and they are exchanging with one another so that the price is not going to be affected. So we call this liquidity, ability to convert into cash quickly, or how quickly a currency can be converted into another currency. We call this liquidity. Of course, this will happen when there are many buyers and many sellers. So if I'm a seller and I'm buying currency from you, right, which is highly liquid, so I'm quite sure that I can buy from you and can sell to others so that my spread is going to be lower. But if there is a chance that I'm going to buy currency from you and it is hard for me to sell that currency to another, then of course I'm going to be increasing the spread and that currency or that market is not going to be liquid. Okay. So demand is downward sloping, supply is upward sloping. So the cross section is called the exchange rate here. So price of the currency is called exchange rate. So what causes this exchange rate to move up and down, or this equilibrium price up or down? We talked about that there are 5 factors which causes equilibrium price to increase or decrease. We finished our discussion on inflation. So we're just going to repeat that. So number 1, the exchange rate is dependent on, first of all, the relative inflation or differential inflation between two countries. Since this book is US centric, so we base our inflation as US inflation, right? So remember, you can also change this US to your home country as well, whether you are in Cuba, whether you are in Venezuela, whether you are in Russia, America, Japan, or whatsoever, right? And then relative interest rates, and then income level, government expenditures, and the last one is expectations, changes in expectations, changes in government controls, changes in or differential changes in or relative change in income level between two countries, relative or differential change in interest rate between these two countries, and relative inflation change between the countries, right? So we made a little mistake here in our, because the time was short and I was about to conclude, and we made a small mistake. When I heard the lecture, I found out, okay, I made a little mistake. So let's just see that. So I'm going to be repeating, or we are starting our this lecture from here. So factors that affect or influence the exchange rate movement. Number 1 is relative inflation. What do we mean by relative inflation? For example, in US, the inflation is 10%. And in China, the inflation is 8%. So what do we mean by relative inflation, which means, or differential inflation? The difference is 2%, right? So that doesn't mean, okay, the US currency is going to be depreciated by 10%. No. We also will talk about the interest rate parity and this kind of stuff in our coming lectures. So we'll talk about there more extensively. Just going to be telling you what do we mean by differential or relative. So I'm just going to erase this and let's talk about further. So are we clear regarding the meaning of relative inflation? Tiffany, Oliver?
Yes.
Good. EGA? Okay, so let's just read that. Relative inflation, increase in US inflation. So where you are right now? Put a mark here. You are here. Increase in US inflation means that US people have more dollars, more money at the moment. The money supply in the country has increased. So it means for them buying outside, I think I should change the name here because our example is based on UK. So let me change, not in China, UK. So China, US currency is dollar, UK currency is pound. So that will be more meaningful for our coming slide so that you can understand. So when US Americans have more money, so buying UK goods is cheaper to them. It feels more cheaper to buy imported goods. They can afford imported goods because they have more money supply over there. So what happened? Demand for UK goods, right? So demand for UK goods. UK goods, right? UK products, right? But the UK seller here will be dealing with you in pounds, not in dollars. So when demand for product of UK increase, the demand for pound also rises because you would be selling your currency, right? Dollars and buying more pounds. So demand for pound increases. So that's what I have written here. Increase in US inflation leads to increase in US demand for foreign goods, UK goods, and increase in the US demand for foreign currency, which is pound. All right. So since these are two countries are interactive with one another, right? What is the motive of here? Those who are exporting to US, for them, because in UK inflation is down, so people find more expensive for buying US goods. Or seller who is exporting here in UK, will be selling more goods to US? Answer is no, because UK seller of the goods are selling here because US can easily afford UK goods, but those who are here who want to purchase from US exporters find it difficult to sell their goods here in UK because UK people, they find it more difficult to purchase foreign goods. Why? Because UK is going to be more expensive to them. So would they will be supplying their pound and exchanging to dollars? Answer is no. So on the other hand, demand for pound. So our focus is now currency pound, not in US dollar. So US demand will decrease, pound demand will increase. If we talk about supply of pound gonna be decreased because from UK Nobody wants to buy US goods. So what happened here? If this is a market for, I write it down so that students are not confused. Pound. This is the equilibrium here right now.